I think everybody's hoping it's a play, it's a piece of theater. But if it isn't, it goes from very white and de-escalated and a kind of play to very black, and NATO, the NATO alliance is in jeopardy. There's no gray zone between those two. And that's why the Danish government are keen to find out what are the actual intentions. Is he going to do it, or is it just a piece of theater to get us to the negotiating table? What is the point of this rhetoric?
Okay, the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio is going to meet Danish officials tomorrow to discuss the future of Greenland. President Donald Trump says the US must own the island for national security reasons. Denmark, who own it now, aren't very keen on that. The nations already have an agreement which enables America to station as many troops as they wish on Greenland, but that clearly hasn't satisfied the US president. Let's speak to Morten Rønnelund, a journalist for the Avisen newspaper in Denmark. Morten, thank you for your time. Look, I think it was the governments of Greenland and Denmark who requested this meeting today, this meeting that's going to take place tomorrow. What are they going to say?
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me. I think they're trying to suss out what the U.S. intentions actually are, because we're in a kind of holding pattern. Are we supposed to de-escalate and not be too serious about this, or are they actually going to break the NATO alliance? I think that's what the Danish government is trying to find out by meeting the Americans in a closed space to get the actual intentions from the U.S. government.
And remind us what the U.S. government has said so far, because it's been pretty strident. We know Donald Trump tried to buy Greenland unsuccessfully in his first term. Denmark said it's not for sale. And so Trump says, well, I want it anyway.
Yeah, it's very important for national security, apparently. However, as you said, the U.S. has had ample opportunity to place military personnel and different kinds of bases and stuff like this on Greenland, and they haven't. They have reduced it very significantly over the last 10 or 20 years, even 30 years. So Donald Trump has said he would try to buy Greenland. He may annex it. He hasn't ruled out using military personnel or the military to just take Greenland. And that seems to be the U.S. position, although we don't know exactly what the intentions are or what the end goal is. If it's about security, why don't they put any more military personnel on Greenland? Why don't they use this open-ended agreement with Denmark? So our thought is maybe there's something else in there.
The fact that the governments of Greenland and Denmark have asked for a meeting does suggest they are taking this seriously. But do they think there is a credible scenario where Donald Trump uses military to say, right, I'm taking over? Or do they think this is Donald Trump sort of playing on the global stage, a bit of a negotiation tactic to get what he wants?
Well, I think everybody's hoping it's a play, it's a piece of theater. But if it isn't, it goes from very white and de-escalated and a kind of play to very black, and NATO, the NATO alliance is in jeopardy. There's no gray zone between those two. And that's why the Danish government are keen to find out what are the actual intentions. Is he going to do it, or is it just a piece of theater to get us to the negotiating table? What is the point of this rhetoric?
And the Greenlanders, what do they want?
Well, they want to be themselves, even apart from Denmark. Maybe not now, but over some years. And this discussion has been kind of used by some Greenlanders to stick it to Denmark. It's even though the cases of U.S. annexing Greenland and the Greenland-Denmark historic relationship has dark chapters, are kind of apples and oranges, that they have been conflated a bit, and some Greenlanders are using this debate to stick it to Denmark, and then it kind of confuses the whole debate on what's going on.
I think it has done. We have seen some pretty punchy meetings from the U.S. administration this second Trump term. Are you expecting it to sort of come to blows tomorrow? Obviously not sort of physically, but in terms of sort of there being an argument, will it be very diplomatic?
I think the Danes will be very diplomatic, trying to suss out what's actually going on. And I don't think there will be cameras on this. I don't even think there will be a presser after this meeting unless something significant has happened or been negotiated. And I don't think that's going to happen until now. So it's kind of in the room where it happens. This is going to be kind of secret to find out what's actually going on, to look into the eyes of the U.S. officials and find out, is this a piece of theater? What do you actually want, and can we give it to you and stop this debacle across the globe about the NATO alliance?
Morten, thank you for the analysis of what's to come tomorrow. That's Morten Rønnelund, a journalist for the Avisen newspaper in Denmark. My suspicions, Gitto, is that we will get the US president's version of events told to us fairly swiftly after that meeting, regardless of whether there are cameras there or not.
Yeah, for better or worse, he's pretty unfiltered, isn't he? And it's kind of refreshing at one level. You at least kind of vaguely know where you stand, but it's hard to see how this one plays out. And I still think in a hotly contested field, the way he just said, just because some Viking longship landed there 500 years ago, doesn't mean it should be Danish forever. It shows you a starting point.
They're going to get back their money. We're devising a formula, but it won't be so much of a formula. It's going to be what they need. I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland. And we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay? I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way. And by the way, I'm a fan of Denmark too, I have to tell you, and they've been very nice to me. I'm a big fan, but the fact that they had a boat land there 500 years ago doesn't mean that they own the land. I'm sure we had lots of boats go there also. But we need that because if you take a look outside of Greenland right now, there are Russian destroyers, there are Chinese destroyers and bigger, there are Russian submarines all over the place. We're not going to have Russia or China occupy Greenland, and that's what they're going to do if we don't. So we're going to be doing something with Greenland, either the nice way or the more difficult way. We'll take a few more, though.
I have a question on today's meeting, Mr. President.
Let me ask you more importantly, do you have any questions from the biggest?